Welcome to this after action episode where we're going to dive in and unpack a key takeaway from last week's interview. And this last interview we had was from Ivan Ingram, a beast of a Marine. And I had so many takeaways. I had several takeaways that it was really tough for me to dial in and grab just one. And so if you didn't listen to it, you're definitely going to want to go check it out. If you did, though, then you heard him say when he was referencing rock bottom, from a place of having been there, he said, if you have to ask if you're at rock bottom, then you're not there yet. And those hit me like a ton of bricks. And one of the major reasons why is brought me back to some advice that I got from several people before heading off going into recon school. And it was always shared with me that one of the most important lessons, one of the biggest things that you had to learn, especially at a school like that, was that your mind is actually going to quit well before your body's ready to quit. Your mind's going to be telling you, stop, you can't go any further, when the reality is your body's still got gas in the tank, your body's ready to go. And it was always told you just have to learn that lesson. And this thought process, this level of thinking is what carried me through several tough training evolutions where I would just have to remind myself, this is only your mind, it's quitting, but your body's ready to go. Keep moving, keep putting one foot in front of the other. And it's not easy to do, but it's worth doing. And this is just an assessment of where your body is versus where your mind is checking out. Being able to recognize that your mind is done, and that's okay, but your body's still good to go. And the beautiful thing is that your mind is just a muscle. Like any other muscle in your body, it's just a muscle. It can be flexed, and that means it can get stronger. And I felt that. I felt that in recon school. We had a series of these drop days, these different ruck runs that consisted of us just doing these rucks, got heavier, distance got further, and we just had to complete it in order to keep moving forward, in order to not get dropped. And I remember the first one, I wanted to die. It was so tough. And I remember just keeping my head down, moving forward, telling myself, your body's lying to you or your mind's lying to you. Listen to your body. Your body's good to go. You've got this. And then the very next ruck run that we did, I noticed that not only did my body got stronger, but my mind got stronger. My mental ability to stick with it also got tougher. It took a much longer period of time until my body started trying to check out as well. And this was just paying attention to those signals and allowing my mind to have those thoughts, but pushing my body forward. And I learned that this was true. Your mind wants you to stop long before your body's not capable any longer. And it's a defense mechanism. It wants to keep you safe. It wants to keep you alive. And your body's watching all these meters and gauges, like heart rate, breathing, sweating, air intake versus air that's needed, future air that's needed if this keeps going. And it's saying, hey, we're going to have some issues if you don't stop. But the reality is those issues actually aren't coming for some time, and you can push through. You can actually push through much further. And so what it really does is it acts like a governor on a race car, where it's just blocking its potential speed from actually being realized. It's just stopping it from going to max capacity. And frankly, I think that sometimes it's good to push through that. It's good to see what your max speed is all about. It's good to see how far you can push it. But that brings me back to Ivan's comment about if you're able to ask yourself if you're at rock bottom, then you're not there yet. Because if you have the mental capacity to ask that question, then you're not there. Because if you're able to ask it, then you are able to assess, which is exactly what he suggested to do. Drop down, take a knee, check in with yourself mentally. Check in, see where you're at. And just like on night land nav course, just a night land navigation, it's pitch black. If you're feeling lost, unsure, you drop down, you throw that poncho over yourself, and you pull out a red light and you check the map. You assess where you're at, you assess the situation before you keep moving forward. And you ask yourself those questions. What direction are you headed? What direction do you want to head? Once you dial that in, then you start to look for what are some landmarks that I could find myself nearby that I could associate myself with and start to really figure out where I want to head next. And then I would definitely check in with a team member. And that would equate to checking in with somebody in your life. Take a sip of water and then take one step forward in that right direction you needed to go. But quitting is not an option. That's not an option right now. And I remember one of the craziest nights in a training evolution I've ever had. I was running point man on a team, which for anybody that doesn't know, it's the person that's up front in the team that's, they're in charge of choosing a direction, and getting everybody in that team to the objective. And typically, they take the lead. They're breaking brush out in front in order to let everybody else on the team, flank out, fan out, and look at other things, observe other things. So I'm running point, and my team leader and I kept laughing because we were in. It was some of the thickest brush that I've ever been in. It was crazy. It was so tough to even be able to look around. And there were certain points where we had to trust fall into the brush just to knock it down, just so the rest of the team could get over, and then we get up, and then we would do it again. I mean, we had just to move a few feet at a time. That's what we had to do. It was insane. Visibility was tough. We could barely see in any direction, let alone get a solid bearing on a compass of, all right, let's just head in this direction here. It was tough. It was really tough. And the one thing that always became visible, that would always pop up, was we would look up in the air, and every now and again you could see this huge cliff face. We called it the face, and we look up at it and be like, well, at least we're not heading up there. Like, at least that's not where we're at. And that was kind of our saving grace, where we're just like, at least we're not up there. We're in a good spot. And hours pass into the night. We're struggling to find anything. I mean, and inevitably we see this ledge that we walk over to, and we look down and we notice, like, we're on top of the cliff face. Like, everything we kept saying was, at least we're not up there, and we ended up being up top there. And we turned, kind of laughed for a moment about how we ended up on this, and we turned and we started walking away. And that brush was gone, and the walk got easier. Our rucks started feeling a little bit lighter, and everyone was able to fan out a little bit, and people kind of cracked some jokes. Everything got a little bit easier. What if the difficult situation that you're in right now, where you feel like it's rock bottom, what if that's just like another crazy training patrol? Now, we're just around the corner. You're going to turn, and the lights are going to flip on for you. Your ruck's going to start feeling lighter, and the journey is going to get a little bit easier. If so, then the best thing you can do right now is take a knee and assess.